Hey, what's going on, truckers? Thanks for watching. Hey, this week a lot of things happened with the FMCSA, so let's talk about it. Here we go. The home of the do-it-yourself trucker. When everything goes wrong, you gotta recognize. What's going on, truckers? Thanks for watching. Now, if you don't mind, real quick, go give us a like and don't forget to subscribe as well. It really helps us out, and we appreciate everything you do out there. So let's get to going on talking about what all happened this week with the FMCSA. They came out and had a few things to say about the protests going on in DC. And like always, you probably aren't really interested in what they have to say, but I think it's a good deal to point out what they did say. So let's dive into that. But before we do, I want to give a shout out to this week's video sponsor, and that's Load to Ride Transportation. Load to Ride Transportation has stepped up real big to help out Redneck and Eyes, and we appreciate everything that they've been doing. And we can't be more thrilled to have them aboard as a supporter. That's a really good company. They've got a lot of connections out there. They actually have pretty cool equipment and running down the road. If you could, go check them out at onestopfreightways.com. They got some driver opportunities out there, and seems like a really great company taking care of their drivers and getting up and down the road. Pretty cool. So check them out. Let them know you appreciate what they do for Redneck and Eyes, and then, you know, maybe it's something you might be interested in hollering at them to maybe go haul some freight or check out some other opportunities. So can't wait to see what happens with that. So let's get to it. The FMCSA, they came out this week and they had a few things to say. They reached out to a couple of news organizations and they had some things to say about the protest in DC. Now, this shouldn't surprise anyone that a political organization that has nothing but bureaucrats, they're going to run in there and they're going to come out and they're going to say, well, we really love the truckers. We're doing everything. And, you know, we've done a lot of stuff in the past and we're always working with the drivers to give them the opportunity to be flexible and everything. And of course, we always know it's a bunch of, like, you know, political double speak and all that. I mean, they say that they're willing to help, but then they also came out at the same time. They said, well, we're not really looking into any of the issues that the drivers are having with the brokers or anything due to the protest, because that's not really our purview, even though they have regulations that contradict what they had to say. So, you know, I may not think that there's a lot going wrong with what the brokers are doing, but if they're breaking the law, then the regulations should be investigated. So, you know, let's look into it at least, but they're not, you know, so, you know, what's the surprise in that, right? I mean, come on now. If you've been in this industry for the last 20 years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm about to say. I can back up that they really haven't done anything to help the drivers. They just write regulations, and the whole time they've been doing that, haven't really listened to anything that the drivers are saying. Now, you'll remember back in, like, right around 2000, 2002, the FMCSA actually got sued by a bunch of, like, you know, safety advocacy groups. They were telling the administration that the hours of service were not safe and they needed to be changed, and we have all this data to back it up. And, you know, the funny thing is that the data was contradicted. I mean, OIDA actually got with some other people and got other data to contradict their data. So it's like, okay, whose data is right? Well, you know, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The old time of doing the hours of service, you drove 10, you slept 8, you can run split, you weren't chasing the clock, everything was great. But then, like I said, they went down to the judge and they said, you know, this ain't right. Well, you know what the problem was is the judge is like, you're right, they need to change it. So you got to change your hours of service. So they did. And in 2002, 2003, somewhere around that time, they changed the hours of service and they said, you know what, we understand that you're not going to like this change, so we're going to give you an extra hour of drive time, but you're going to have to sleep another 2 hours and be off duty. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a 14-hour clock now. So once you start your day, you have 14 hours to finish that day or you're dead in the water. And there's no way to stop it or break that clock up or anything. It's always going to be running and you can't do nothing about it. Oh man, I tell you what, that was just the wrong thing to do in trucking. How many of you out there know that the trucking, it doesn't always move in a regular day, you know? And they came out. I mean, the people that were trying to get these changes made, they said truck drivers should be like regular working folk and have a regular 9-to-5 job and all that. Hello, The trucking industry doesn't operate that way. So this went on for a while, these rules, and it was really crazy. Truck drivers complained. We got together, and OOIDA tried to help us out and all that. And, they changed leadership there at the FMCSA, and they said, you know what, we agree with you. We're going to help you out. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this listening session, this meeting, and we're going to let drivers talk about what they need. And that was great. It was awesome. They came out and they said, this is bad. The 14-hour clock is bad. When we get held up at a shipper and we get stuck in traffic, we can't take a break and let the traffic die down, and our clock is always running. So we're not able to take a break when we want to take a break because we're always up against the 14-hour clock. And they said, you know what? You're right. You should be able to take a break when you need to take a break. So we're going to mandate that you take a break after 8 hours of driving. That's not at all what we wanted. We didn't want that at all. We wanted to be able to take the break when we wanted to, not forced to take a break. It didn't even do anything. Then they came out and they said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to have split sleeper. You guys want split sleeper? We're going to let you have split sleeper. You got to stay in the bunk for 8 hours, and then you can, break it up and drive, and that'll kind of break up your 14-hour clock. 8 hours, okay, so then the other two, if we're running team, there's no point in splitting sleeper on that. All it really did is if you were kind of stuck at a ship or somewhere or whatever, and you got 8 hours in, you were able to reset the 14-hour clock to pick up where you left off. That was all it did. And how many times were you able to do that? In the old days, you didn't have a 14-hour clock. If you stayed for 3 or 4 hours at a shipper because you were getting some kind of crazy load or it was messed up or whatever, that actually helped you in getting your 8 hours of break. So, that was great because you weren't up against the clock. But now they had all that done. It was crazy. So now we're coming to that we keep complaining that the 14-hour clock is crazy. We need to be able to take a break when we want to, be able to stop the clock when we need to and all that. And they come out with these new rule changes that just came out this week as well. And this is another big thing that got everybody fired up, because they come out and say about the protesters that, well, we're not really going to look into that. But we're doing everything we can. Well, then they released the rules. And if you got the press release and you looked at it, you were like, this is a bunch of nothing. There's not really anything here. They didn't do anything with the 14-hour clock. They changed a couple of things for being local drivers, and maybe they adjusted the split sleeper. Oh, good. Now I don't have to do 8 hours. I can do 7 hours, but I still have to stop for at least 2. So you're either going to be able to do 7 and 3, 8 and 2, or just a straight up 10. That's your flexibility. That's it. And it didn't do nothing at all, And they said, well, you know what? You still have to take your 30-minute break, and that will help you with your 14-hour clock. And you don't have to take it off duty. You can actually have it on any line at all. I don't care what line I'm on. Who cares? How many drivers out there are worried about what line they're on compared to what job they're doing? How many owner-operators are out there that are logging that they're in the sleeper berth, but they're actually up under the truck working on something? Because that's the way it does. That's how you get things done. It's just the way it goes. That's life on the road. You got to get stuff done when you're able to get it done. I can't tell you how many times that I'm logging that I'm actually in the sleeper berth when I'm actually inside doing laundry, or taking a shower. That's what we do. We get the time in. We're not sitting there asleep for 10 hours and then get up and take another 2 or 3 hours inside the truck stop. It's who cares what line we're on. We're not driving, so we're doing something other than driving, sleeping, or working on the truck, or doing paperwork, or just eating or something. Just because that we're logging in the sleeper doesn't mean we're sleeping. And that's just life on the road. That's just how it is. So it's just crazy. But anyway, just my whole point is the FMCSA, they really haven't done nothing to help drivers out. They're always writing rules. They keep changing rules that benefit. I don't know who they benefit. Maybe they benefit the carrier. Maybe they benefit the broker. I know that they don't benefit drivers all that much, and I would think that big carriers and shippers, we know the shippers don't care. The shippers don't care if we get stuck, without hours. They just want their freight delivered. The guy on the YouTube the other day, he said that when he got to the customer, they said, well, the contract says we have 8 hours to unload you. 8 hours? Why the hell would anybody, why would the shipper even think that, that would be right to hold somebody up at their facility for 8 hours. Who, why would you even think that's right? I don't understand. So the industry having these rules doesn't benefit the industry at all. So the brokers don't like it. The shippers don't like it. The big carriers, they certainly don't like it. They want to be able to run up and down the road. So they say it's in the interest of safety. But now they came out and they just extended the suspension of the hours of service. I thought the hours of service was about safety. So they should never be broken. If we're always concerned about being safe and you provide these rules because you say it's for safety reasons that we have these rules, and then you say, well, you know what? During the pandemic, you ain't got to obey the rules. Well, then we're not safe. Isn't that right? I mean, we know as truck drivers, we're going to be safe. Okay. The mentality out there is that safety is, we don't think of safety as following the rules. We think of safety as being responsible and always looking out for doing the right thing when it comes to, not getting injured or not damaging property. You always want to do the right thing on that. And that's being safe. We've gotten to the point now where we're trying to be safe just so we don't break rules, and that's the whole thing. It's not about that. We want to be responsible because we care about other people and we care about the other people's equipment and property. That's why we're safe. So, but anyway, that's the way we see it over here. I hope things get a little better. The protest keeps going on. They're in their third week now, and it seems to be holding up pretty good. Drivers are coming in and out. Where there's new drivers coming in, other drivers got to leave and go home. So it seems to be working out pretty good. Some connections with Redneck and Ice have tried to make their way down there, and there might even be some actual group members heading down there. We're trying to get that worked out. We're not real sure, because we're still doing our jobs. That's the amazing thing about it is truck drivers, even though truck drivers are protesting, are still moving freight up and down the road, still out there helping the customers that treat us well. That's what we're doing. We're taking care of the customers that take care of us. So that's important. So keep it up. But anyway, check out our website at redneckandeyes.com. And we've got other videos on there, and we've got some stuff. We got a store. We got t-shirts and hats and some stickers and kind of cool stuff like that. So looking forward to seeing everybody pretty soon. I hope the truck shows kind of get going again, because that's where we like to go and hang out. And we like hanging out at truck shows, serving food. That's kind of what our main deal is that we get to the parking lot. We have cookouts and hang out and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. So yeah, check that out. And let's stay safe and successful out there. Keep between the ditches, and we'll see you out there on the road.